Well, good morning. Yeah, a lot of meditation going on here this morning as I'm pondering things. The message or the title for the video for the 6th of August is Blow Shofar and Walls Come Tumbling Down. The ambassador has talked often about the shofar and has shared pictures with me of the dragon family using the shofar as a spiritual weapon to fight a spiritual battle against the unseen forces of human ignorance and financial tyranny. It reminds me of the Negro spiritual. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. It's time to stop fighting with the weapons we have been using that cause mayhem, such as we see in modern-day Israel as they try to annihilate the modern-day Philistines. We need to understand that the true Israel, the spiritual Jerusalem, is not at war with people of other nationalities or religions, but rather with principalities and powers in high places, the invisible realm of ideas, perceptions that hold us in bondage, preventing our enrichment and empowerment. It's time to blow the shofar and let the walls in our hearts come tumbling down. As the Berlin Wall fell without a shot being fired, so let our own awakening and transformation be without any more blood being shed. Yeah, a lot of pondering going on for me this morning. Before I even got out of bed, I was thinking about this and wondering what it's going to take to finally be able to create a world that can live at peace. I was looking at the world religions as the time approached for me to begin the video, and I don't know enough of the history of Hinduism or Buddhism or even Taoism, but I just don't see them as being warlike cultures. The religions just simply don't seem to be warlike, although I know in the Bhagavad Gita there are battles and stuff like that Krishna had to go to war. So it's just my own ignorance here of those religions, but I do see what happened in the so-called Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They have been at war with each other from almost the very beginning, and they've exported that war from the Middle East, where those religions were born, to the entire planet, so that no place on the globe are we exempt from the bloodshed and the hatred and the bigotry of the human ignorance that grew up around these religious cultures. And yet, at the root of all three of those religions is a basic principle of getting along with each other. I know if you read the Bible, it doesn't necessarily appear that way, because, as I said, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Now, if you don't know that story, the Israelites were to go march around this fortified city of giants. Okay, they were much bigger in stature than the Israelites, and the Israelites sent spies. Joshua and Caleb sent spies into Jericho, and they stayed with the local prostitute, the harlot, named Rahab, whose home was on the wall of the city. And when they came looking for the spies, she let them down the wall and let them escape from the city, because the elders of the city realized that there were spies in the city, and Rahab saved their lives and let them go free. But the children of Israel, following spiritual guidance of their leaders, Joshua primarily, they conducted war a little bit different than modern day Israel conducts war. They marched around the city once a day for 6 days. On the 7th day, they marched around the city 7 times. No bloodshed. Then they used their spiritual weapon, the shofar. What's the shofar? It's a ram's horn, basically. And they blew the shofar. And the vibration caused the city walls to fall down. Except for the part of the wall where Rahab lived. That part of the wall, according to the story, remained intact. So Rahab was spared because she had spared the spies from Israel that went in to the fortified city of Jericho. I made reference also to the Berlin Wall. That was fought, again, without weapons, like we normally think of weapons, without rockets and grenade launchers and rifles, and without the weapons and bombs that we use in modern warfare, exported by the military-industrial complex of the United States, mostly, but also Europe, to the entire world, and yes, unfortunately, Russia too, and China too. The whole world has built up these armaments because that's what we think of when we think of war. That's what we think of when we think of weapons. But the real weapons, the real enemy, the real weapon is an idea, it's a consciousness, and the real enemy is ignorance. It's always ignorance. Ignorance of not knowing that you are your brother's keeper. Ignorance of not knowing that the children of Abraham, from whom we get 3 major world religions that are always seem to be at each other's throat, come from the same root stock. It's all Semitic. The whole thing is Semitic. Semites. Okay? The whole thing is. All comes from the same root. And ultimately, we all came from the same stock, even if there's been crossbreeding from other star systems and stuff like that. All humans share the same planet. And in a sense, the same blood. It all bleeds red, whether it's Rh positive or negative, whether it's AB or AB or O. It's still blood, and it's time to stop shedding blood, don't you think? It's time to stop warring over ideas and religions and ideologies. It's time to learn to get along and to deal peaceably with each other, and to trade with each other, and to share with each other, and to learn about each other's cultures and each other's perspectives, and to see each other's emotions, to hear the stories that we each have to tell. Don't you think that would be far better than to continue to bulldoze homes in Gaza or fire artillery shells into Tel Aviv? And I have a feeling that Hamas is not really the ones that's doing it, or Hamas is simply another arm of the Israeli intelligence services, the Mossad, because I don't see the Palestinians as being a warlike people, except to try to defend themselves as best they can. Even David, when he went against the Philistine Goliath, did not use the sword. He used a slingshot, one small stone that went right into the forehead or the temple of the giant. We need giant killers today, but the giants we need to kill are not even the Illuminati. They're ideas that found the ignorance, that are the foundation for the cruelty of our perceptions and of our actions. We act poorly because we see unclearly. We do not see that our brother and sister are just like us if they have a different religion or a different color skin or speak a different language. We have to get over this, folks. We have to let the walls in our heart fall down. The walls that separate us one from the other, as my friend Armand wrote a song about that. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but he went to the Berlin Wall and he wrote a song about letting the walls inside of us fall down. Armand, I hope you're hearing this. I probably should share that on Facebook later today or when I share this video. But in any case, yes, the battle is inside of us. The battle is the walls of prejudice that we have allowed to be built up within us so that we are unable to love. And as long as we're unable to love, we'll never prosper. We'll never be really empowered. We'll never be truly set free. You cannot be set free as long as the ideas of prejudice are allowed to dwell within your walls, the walls of your own consciousness. Your walls have to fall down. My walls have to fall down. We have to allow ourselves to see more clearly. When Jesus healed the blind man by just taking making mud and putting it on his eyes. And at first he saw men as trees walking. And then he touched him again and he was able to see correctly. We need to learn how to see correctly. We need to let the sound of the ram's horn be heard with our inner ears, the ears of our heart, so that the eyes of our heart can be opened and we can see and get beyond the ignorance that creates all of the problems that we face on earth. Yes, the financial tyranny is invisible. It's invisible because it's based on lack. And lack is an illusion. Lack is separation. Lack says, I want to get as much as I can so that you don't get it, believing that there's not enough for both of us. But there is enough for both of us. There is enough to actually transform the face of the planet itself, converting deserts into gardens. We have the technology to do that, but we spend it on modern weapons in the military-industrial complex, on bombs, and all sorts of artillery shells and rockets. When are we going to get over this, folks? When are we going to understand that we don't win when we're fighting to kill somebody else and to take what they have? That's not even intelligent. It's insane. It's psychopathic. It's sociopathic. It's genocidal. And in a sense, it's suicidal. Because even those that cause genocide of someone else, they're actually killing their own spirit. They're actually wounding their own soul. Nobody gets out of this thing alive. But we can live in peace if we get over the ignorance of our mindset, the ignorance that's been poisoning our religions and poisoning our institutions. We've got to get over this, folks. We've got to let go. We've got to let the North and the South within us make peace with the East and the West within us. We have to allow our rich heritage, our rich culture, our human culture to come together and form a beautiful melting pot, a beautiful synthesis of the best each culture has to offer, the best creativity that comes from each civilization. Can we not rise above our petty differences and our petty prejudices? Can we not learn to forgive ourselves and to forgive each other? Can we not let the walls fall down within us? Let the shofar sound. Let the sound be heard as a universal frequency. that shatters our illusions to hell, that shatters all that has divided us, the invisible things that hold us at bay one from another and prevent us from loving. Love is the answer in every religion. It's the only religion worth having. If your religion is not love, I suggest you find a new religion. Hold on to your Christianity, your Judaism, your Hinduism, your Buddhism, your Islamic faith, your Taoism, or any of the other religions of the world. Hang on to them if you want, but don't hang on to the idea that yours is somehow superior to someone else's. Jesus didn't come. He didn't come with any other message than, by this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, the ram's horn, with a shofar. Let your eyesight be healed so that you can see that the true Israel is not a terrorist nation, as the modern Israel seems to be. That the true Israel is not the United States and the British Commonwealth, as British Israelitism teaches. But the true Israel, the true Prince of God, are people of the heart, people who have learned that love really is the answer. And as the Beatles sang, love is the answer. Let love fill your heart and open your eyes and your ears to the divine music, the music of the spheres that includes the shofar, the ram's horn that brings down walls. Thank you for listening. Namaste.